Hello, welcome to Biology, the science study of life. Restoration ecology attempts to restore degraded ecosystems to a more natural state. Eventually, some areas that are altered by human activities are abandoned. For instance, the soils of many tropical areas become unproductive and are abandoned fewer than 5 years after being cleared or farming. Mining activities may last for several decades, but the lands are then abandoned in a degraded state. Many ecosystems are also damaged advertently by the dumping of toxic chemicals or such mishaps as soil spills. Such degraded habitats and ecosystems are increasing in area because the natural rate of recovery by successional process is slower than the rate of degradation by human activities. Given enough time, biological communities can recover naturally from many types of disturbances through the various stages of ecological succession. The amount of time required for such natural recovery is more closely related to the spatial scale of the disturbance than the type of disturbance. The larger the area disrupted, the longer the time required for recovery. Whether the disturbance is natural or caused by humans seems to make little difference in this size-time relationship, as shown in this video. One of the basic assumptions of restoration ecology is that most environmental damage is reversible, but this optimism must be balanced by a second assumption that communities are not infinitely resilient. Restoration ecologists work to identify and manipulate the process that must limit the speed of recovery in order to reduce the time it takes for a community to bounce back from the impact of disturbances. It is important to remember, however, that natural disturbances such as periodic fire or flooding is part of the dynamics of many ecosystems. The needs to be considered in restoration strategies. Two key strategies in restoration ecology are bioremediation and augmentation of ecosystem process. Bioremediation is the use of the living organisms, usually prokaryotes, fungi, or plants, to detoxify polluted ecosystems. For example, some plants adapted to soils containing heavy metals are capable of accumulating high concentrations of potentially toxic metals such as zinc, nickel, lead, and cadmium. Restoration ecologists can use these plants to revegetate sites polluted by mining and other human activities, and then harvest the plants to remove the metals from the ecosystem. A number of researchers are also focusing on the ability of certain prokaryotes and lichens to concentrate metals. Researchers in the United Kingdom discovered a lichen species that grows on soil polluted with uranium dust left over from mining. The lichen concentrates uranium is a dark pigment, making it useful as a biological monitor and potentially as a remediator. Restoration ecologists have also achieved some success in using the bacterium Pseudomonas to clean up oil spills on beaches. More common still is the use of certain prokaryotes to metabolism toxins in dump sites. In the future, genetic engineering may become increasingly important as a tool for improving the performance of certain species as bioremediators. Biological augmentation, in contrast to remediation, which is a strategy for removing harmful substances, biological augmentation uses organisms to add essential materials to a degraded ecosystem. Augmenting ecosystem process requires determining what factors such as chemical nutrients have been removed from an area, and those are limiting its rate of recovery. Encouraging the growth of plants that thrive the nutrient poor soils often speeds up the rate of successional changes that can lead to recovery of damaged sites. An example is the rapid growth of um, uh, indigenous plant communities along roadsides in Puerto Rico, Puerto Rico, which was overseen by Ariel Logo, director of the USA Forest Services Institute of Tropical Forestry in Puerto Rico. Lego used the Albizia brucera, a non-native plant that thrives on nitrogen-poor soils, to colonize roadside areas after the original forest was removed and soils were depleted of nutrients. Apparently, the rapid build-up of organic material from dense stands of Albizia enabled indigenous plants to recognize the area and overgrow and reduce the plant in a relatively brief time. Exploring restoration, because of the newness of restoration ecology is a discipline. The complexity of ecosystems and the unique features of each situation, restoration ecologists usually must learn as they go. Many restoration ecologists advocate adaptive management, experimenting with several promising types of management to learn what works best. The key to adaptive management and the key to restoration ecology is to consider alternative ways of accomplishing goals and to learn from mistakes as well as success. The long-term objective of restoration is to speed the reestablishment of an ecosystem as similar as possible to the pre-disturbance ecosystem, as shown in this figure. On the restoration ecology worldwide, the examples highlighted on these pages are just a few of the many restoration ecology projects taking place around the world. The color coded dots on the map indicate the locations of the project. This or the restoration identifies several ambitious the successful restoration projects around the world. The great number of such projects, the dedication of the people engaged in them, and the successes that have been achieved suggests that this is just beginning, or this is just beginning.